You call it love, but look carefully, and you may discover it is fear wearing the face of devotion. Every time you beg someone to stay, every time you shrink yourself to avoid being abandoned, every time your peace disappears because someone becomes distant, you are not loving them. You are slowly abandoning yourself. And the most dangerous part is this: the more you chase love, the more invisible your soul becomes to itself. Most people spend their entire lives asking others for emotional permission to feel worthy. A text message changes their mood, silence becomes rejection, distance becomes panic, and attachment slowly transforms love into emotional slavery. But Buddhism uncovered a truth most people are too afraid to face. The moment your happiness depends on another human being, suffering quietly enters your life. Real love was never meant to feel like survival. Real love does not beg, collapse, chase, or fear abandonment. It flows from inner fullness, not emotional starvation. And once you understand why the lonely mind clings, why the wounded heart confuses attachment with love, and why inner peace terrifies the ego more than rejection itself, you may never chase love the same way again. Stop offering your soul for temporary attention. There comes a quiet moment in every life when you must ask yourself a painful question: how much of your soul have you given away just to feel wanted for a few seconds? Many people believe they are searching for love, but if they look deeply, they will discover something more unsettling. They were never chasing another person. They were chasing relief. Relief from loneliness. Relief from the ache of sitting alone with their own thoughts. Relief from the fear that, if no one chooses them, perhaps they are not worthy at all. And so they accept crumbs. A delayed message becomes hope. Inconsistent affection becomes enough. A few warm words are treated like proof that they matter. But a thirsty heart mistakes rainwater for the ocean. The Buddha taught that suffering begins when we cling to what was never ours to control. The moment you believe another person must fill the emptiness within you, attachment quietly takes root. It whispers, "Without them, you are incomplete." But this whisper is not truth. Imagine a starving traveler crossing a desert. In the distance, he sees what appears to be water. He runs toward it with all his strength, convinced that salvation is near. Yet the closer he gets, the farther it moves away. What he was chasing was only a mirage. This is how emotional dependency feels. You keep giving more love, more patience, more understanding, hoping that one day you will finally feel secure. But peace does not come. Instead, you become exhausted, because you are trying to drink from an illusion. Close your eyes for a moment. Imagine holding sand tightly in your hand. The harder you squeeze, the faster it slips through your fingers. Love is the same. What is meant for you does not need to be imprisoned. What must be forced was never truly yours. So ask yourself honestly, have you stayed where your heart felt unseen, simply because loneliness felt more frightening? What part of you keeps begging for reassurance? Are you seeking love or running from yourself? Real self-love is not pride. It is the sacred decision to stop abandoning yourself to keep someone else close. The moment you stop offering your soul for temporary attention, you begin to feel a deeper kind of love. The love of knowing that, even if everyone leaves, you will remain. And that is the moment you no longer beg for love. You become the peace you were searching for in others. We'd love to hear your thoughts. If you're not sure what to say, just type, "I finally choose myself." 2. The heart that rejects itself will worship others. The deepest abandonment does not happen when someone walks away from you. It happens the moment you walk away from yourself, just to be accepted. This wound is quiet. It does not announce itself. It hides behind a smile, behind your willingness to agree, to adjust, to become whatever is needed so that someone will stay. And beneath all of it lives one painful belief: if I am chosen, then I finally matter. Many people carry this belief for years without seeing how much suffering it creates. The Buddha taught that the mind clings to external approval when it has forgotten its own inherent worth. When you do not feel at peace within, attention from others begins to feel sacred. You start treating small gestures as proof that you are lovable. And slowly, you begin to kneel before anyone who offers affection. A person who cannot sit peacefully with themselves will worship the slightest sign of being wanted. This is why some people disappear inside relationships. They silence their opinions. They hide their needs. They laugh when they are hurt. They become emotional shapeshifters, changing their form again and again, hoping this version of themselves will finally be enough. But a tree that bends toward every passing wind eventually forgets how to stand upright. Pause for a moment. Imagine sitting beside your younger self. Not the version of you that learned to impress others, not the version that became strong to survive, just the child who wanted to be loved without having to perform for it. Sit beside that child in silence. Do not fix them. Do not judge them. Simply stay. This is where healing begins. Self-love, in the Buddhist path, is not telling yourself you are better than anyone else. It is refusing to abandon your truth to gain temporary acceptance. It is the quiet promise, even if others misunderstand me, I will not betray my own heart. Ask yourself gently, when did you first learn that love had to be earned? How often have you betrayed your truth just to feel wanted? What would happen if you stopped performing and allowed yourself to simply be? The moment you stop begging to be chosen, something sacred happens. You begin choosing yourself. And when you choose yourself, you no longer need to worship those who offer attention. You stand rooted like a tree that has remembered the strength of its own roots. And from that stillness, love arrives. Not as something you chase, but as something you are finally ready to receive in peace. 3. Attachment is fear. Pretending to be love. This is the truth most hearts resist hearing. What you call love may sometimes be fear in disguise. Fear of being forgotten, fear of being replaced, fear of sitting alone in the silence and wondering whether you were ever enough. Attachment whispers, "Do not leave me, because I do not know who I am without you." Love speaks more softly. It says, "I care for you deeply, and I want your freedom, even when that freedom does not include me." This is the difference between clinging and loving. The Buddha never taught us to close our hearts. He taught us to release our grip, because the tighter you hold another person, the more suffering you create for both of you. The chains that bind others always tighten around the one holding them. Attachment wants to possess. It monitors every message, fears every delay, and interprets distance as danger. It turns affection into anxiety. What began as tenderness slowly becomes control, and control is not peace. Imagine placing a bird inside a golden cage. You may tell yourself you are protecting it. You may decorate the cage with beautiful words and good intentions, but even in gold, the bird still loses the sky. Many relationships do not end because love disappeared. They end because fear suffocated what love was trying to become. Take a slow breath. Picture someone you love, standing peacefully in the distance. They are not moving closer. They are not moving away. They simply are. Notice what arises within you. Can you breathe without reaching for them? Can you care without grasping? Can you let love exist without turning it into ownership? These are not easy questions, but they reveal whether your heart is resting in trust or trembling in fear. Ask yourself gently, do you truly love people, or do you fear losing them? What emotions awaken when someone becomes distant? Can love survive when control is surrendered? Real love does not imprison. It does not beg, chase, or demand proof. It stands with open hands and a steady heart. And the moment you stop trying to hold on to what you fear losing, something unexpected happens. Your heart becomes lighter, your love becomes purer, And for the first time, you discover that peace was never found in possessing another. It was found in releasing them while never abandoning yourself. 4. Your inner child still chooses your relationships. Most adult relationships are quiet conversations between the person you are today and the child you once were. The child who felt ignored becomes the adult who constantly asks, "Are you okay? Do you still love me?" The child who was abandoned becomes anxious when someone needs space. The child who felt unseen grows into an adult who longs to be chosen, as if being chosen will finally prove they are worthy. This is why relationships can feel so intense. You believe you are falling in love, but often you are stepping back into an emotional pattern your heart has known for years. The Buddha taught that what is unconscious continues to shape our suffering. If a wound is not understood, it does not disappear. It quietly searches for familiar pain. Unhealed wounds do not vanish. They return, wearing a familiar face. A person may look new, but the feeling is strangely old. The uncertainty feels familiar. The waiting feels familiar. The fear of losing them feels familiar. And because it feels familiar, the wounded heart mistakes it for love. Like a moth flying toward the same flame, you return to what burns you, not because it is healthy, but because it resembles what your heart learned to expect. Pause for a moment. Place your hand over your chest. Imagine sitting beside the younger version of yourself, the child who thought love had to be earned, who believed they had to chase affection to deserve it. Look into their eyes and say softly, "You no longer need to chase love to be worthy of it." Stay there for a few breaths. Let that child feel what they may have needed most, someone who does not leave. This is the beginning of true healing. Buddhist wisdom teaches that freedom begins when awareness replaces habit. The moment you see your patterns clearly, you are no longer trapped inside them. You can choose differently. You can stop confusing emotional intensity with genuine connection. You can stop calling familiar pain destiny, and you can begin offering yourself the steady love you once searched for in others. Ask yourself with honesty, what childhood feeling still follows you into your relationships? What kind of love feels strangely familiar to you? Are your relationships helping you heal or simply reopening old wounds? The moment you stop asking others to repair the child within you, your heart becomes lighter. You begin to understand that love is not meant to complete your brokenness. It is meant to meet you after you have chosen to care for your own soul. And when your inner child finally feels safe with you, you will no longer beg to be loved. You will know that you already are. We'd love to hear your thoughts. If you're not sure what to say, just type, "I finally choose myself." Loneliness is the door. Most souls refuse to enter. 5. Loneliness is the door most people spend their entire lives avoiding. They fill every quiet moment with noise. They reach for their phone the moment silence appears. They search for messages, conversations, and distractions, not because they are deeply connected, but because they are afraid of what they will feel when nothing is there to distract them. Without noise, without validation, without someone reminding them that they matter, they are finally left alone with themselves. And for many people, this feels unbearable, not because they are broken, but because they have become strangers to their own soul. Silence becomes frightening only when you have spent years abandoning yourself. The Buddha taught that solitude is not something to fear. It is a sacred return. When the world grows quiet, you begin to hear the thoughts you have been running from, the wounds you have been covering, and the needs your heart has been whispering all along. At first, this can feel uncomfortable. A restless mind will call solitude emptiness, but a wise heart recognizes it as initiation. Imagine a lake after a violent storm. When the wind is strong, the surface is disturbed, and nothing beneath can be seen clearly. But when the storm passes, the water becomes still, and in that stillness, everything is revealed. Your mind is the same. Only in silence can you see what truly lives within you. Close your eyes. Imagine sitting alone beside a mountain temple at dusk. There is no phone in your hand, no voice asking for your attention, no one to impress, only your breath, only your existence, only the quiet realization that your presence is enough. Stay there for a moment. Feel what it is like to be with yourself without needing to escape. This is where self-love begins, not in being admired, not in being chosen, but in discovering that your own company is no longer a place of discomfort. It becomes a refuge. Ask yourself gently, why does being alone feel uncomfortable to you? What are you constantly distracting yourself from? Could solitude be healing you rather than harming you? The moment you stop treating loneliness as an enemy, it becomes a teacher. It shows you where you are still hurting. It teaches you how to sit with your heart. And it reveals a truth that changes everything. When you learn to enjoy your own presence, you stop begging others to fill the emptiness within you. You realize there was never anything missing. There was only a part of you waiting patiently to be met in the silence. Some people cannot feel worthy unless someone chooses them. A message arrives and they feel important. A compliment is given and they feel beautiful. Someone becomes distant and their sense of value begins to collapse. Their confidence rises and falls with the attention they receive. This is emotional imprisonment. A soul that depends on applause will always fear silence. Many people live this way without realizing it. They hand their self-worth to strangers and then wonder why they feel anxious. Their inner light is placed in the hands of others, hoping it will be protected. But what others give, they can also withdraw. And when your worth depends on something outside of you, peace becomes impossible. The Buddha taught that true freedom begins when you stop identifying with what is unstable. Praise changes. Relationships change. Opinions change. If your value is tied to what changes, your heart will never feel secure. Imagine carrying a candle through the night. If you place that candle in the hands of strangers, you will spend every moment worrying that someone may extinguish it. But if you hold it carefully within your own chest, it continues to burn, whether anyone notices it or not. Close your eyes. Picture a quiet light glowing in the center of your heart. It is warm, steady, and undisturbed. Now imagine that no one praises you. No one chooses you. No one tells you that you matter. And yet the light remains. It does not dim. It does not ask for permission to shine. This is self-worth. Not the fragile confidence built on attention, but the quiet understanding that your existence alone is enough. Ask yourself gently, who taught you that your worth had to be validated? Why do compliments feel more convincing than your own inner voice? What would change if your value no longer depended on anyone else? The moment you stop asking others to confirm your worth, a profound peace enters your life. Rejection no longer destroys you. Distance no longer defines you. Silence no longer feels threatening. Because you are no longer waiting to be told that you matter. You already know. And when you truly know your worth, you stop begging for love. You stop chasing approval. You stop shrinking to be accepted. You become like a candle that shines quietly in the dark, steady, self-sustaining, and untouched by who chooses to notice. And from that stillness, you discover the greatest truth of all. The love you were seeking was the light you carried within you all along. The more you chase love, the more fear controls you. The more you chase love, the more fear begins to lead your life. At first, it feels innocent. You text first. You give more. You explain yourself carefully. You become endlessly patient. But beneath these actions is often one trembling question: what must I do so they will not leave me? This is the voice of fear. And fear has a way of disguising itself as devotion. When you are afraid of abandonment, you begin to overgive. You offer more time, more energy, more understanding than your heart can sustain. You overthink every pause, overanalyze every word, and over-sacrifice your own needs to keep the connection alive. Slowly, you disappear inside the relationship. Fear turns love into performance. You stop asking whether the relationship nourishes you. You only ask whether you are doing enough to be kept. The Buddha taught that suffering grows whenever we cling to what we cannot control. Another person's feelings, choices, and timing do not belong to you. The more you try to force love, the more anxious your heart becomes. Peaceful love does not require self-erasure. It does not ask you to prove your worth. It does not demand that you abandon your truth to earn affection. Imagine a river flowing toward the ocean. The river does not beg the ocean to accept it. It does not question whether it is worthy of arrival. It simply flows according to its nature. This is how love is meant to feel. Natural, unforced, steady. Close your eyes and picture yourself walking beside a flowing river. Notice the water moving without resistance. You are not trying to redirect it. You are not grasping at it. You are simply allowing it to move as it will. Feel the relief in that. Feel what happens when you stop forcing and begin trusting. Ask yourself gently, what behaviors do you use to avoid rejection? Have you confused overgiving with genuine love? What would love feel like if fear were no longer in control? The moment you stop chasing, your vision becomes clear. You begin to see who truly values you. You stop exhausting yourself trying to be indispensable, and you remember something sacred. Love that is meant for you does not require desperation. It meets you where you are. It respects your peace. It allows you to remain fully yourself. And when you no longer fear being left, you stop begging to be loved. You become like the river, calm, faithful to your nature, and certain that what is meant for you will meet you in its own time. 8. People can feel when you abandon yourself. People can feel when you have abandoned yourself. Even if you smile, even if you speak with confidence, even if you say, "I'm fine." Energy shows what words try to hide. When, deep inside, you believe you are not enough, you begin to accept what your soul knows is painful. You accept inconsistent love. You overlook disrespect. You stay in places where your heart feels small, not because you enjoy pain, but because part of you still believes losing yourself is less scary than losing someone else. The world often reflects the value you quietly place on yourself. The Buddha taught that how you relate to yourself shapes how you relate to all beings. When your mind is rooted in self-respect, you naturally create boundaries. You no longer beg for what should be offered freely. You no longer call emotional neglect love. Self-respect is spiritual protection. Imagine pouring clean water into a cracked cup. No matter how much is given, it cannot stay. This is what happens when you seek love without honoring your own worth. Affection may come, but it leaks through the places where you still doubt yourself. Healing begins when you repair the cup. Stand still for a moment. Imagine roots growing from the soles of your feet deep into the earth. Feel the ground holding you. Feel the strength beneath you. You do not need to chase. You do not need to convince. You do not need to become smaller to be accepted. Like a tree with deep roots, you become emotionally steady. Wind may come, people may leave, circumstances may shift, but you remain grounded in your own truth. Ask yourself honestly, where in your life are you accepting emotional disrespect? What boundaries are you afraid to keep? What would change if you truly believed you were enough? The moment you stop abandoning yourself, everything begins to change. You speak more clearly, you walk away more peacefully. You stop confusing attention with love, and something remarkable happens. People either rise to meet your standards or they quietly leave. Both are blessings, because when you honor your own worth, You no longer fear being alone. You fear betraying yourself. And that is the moment you become truly free. You become a rooted soul, steady, whole, and no longer willing to trade your inner peace for anyone's uncertain affection. We'd love to hear your thoughts. If you're not sure what to say, just type, "I finally choose myself." 9. True love begins when emotional hunger ends. True love begins the moment emotional hunger ends. This is the quiet paradox that Buddhist wisdom shows. The less desperately you need love, the more peacefully you can receive it. As long as another person feels like your emotional oxygen, every disagreement becomes a threat. Every late reply becomes a wound. Every moment of distance feels like suffocation. But when your heart is no longer starving, love stops feeling like survival. It becomes sharing. Only the full heart can love without chains. Many people do not want love. They want rescue. They want someone to quiet the emptiness they have never learned to face alone. They want another person to prove that they are worthy, safe, and complete. But no relationship can carry that weight for long. When love is asked to fill a void, it eventually becomes heavy. Fear enters, control enters, attachment tightens, and what once felt beautiful begins to feel tiring. The Buddha taught that peace is found when craving dissolves. When you no longer grasp at another person to complete you, your heart becomes spacious. You can love deeply without turning that love into possession. Imagine two candles in a quiet room. Neither begs the other for light. Neither fears going dark if the other moves away. Each burns with its own flame, and together they brighten the room more beautifully. This is healthy love. Two whole beings sharing warmth, not two wounded hearts asking to be saved. Close your eyes. Imagine embracing someone you love. There is tenderness, there is gratitude, but there is no fear. You are not clinging. You are not trying to secure a promise. You are simply present. Feel the softness of love without possession. Feel how peaceful love becomes when it is no longer mixed with emotional dependence. Ask yourself gently, what would love look like if it were free from hunger? Can you imagine caring deeply without fearing loss? What if peace mattered more than attachment? The moment your inner emptiness begins to heal, relationships stop feeling like a desperate need. You no longer beg. You no longer chase. You no longer confuse anxiety with love. Instead, you love from abundance. And that changes everything. Because true love does not come from the fear of being alone. It comes from the quiet joy of being whole. And when your heart is full, you can finally say to another soul, "I love you deeply, but I no longer need you to complete me." That is when love becomes pure. That is when love becomes peaceful. And that is when love becomes free. 10. Detachment is not coldness. It is inner freedom. Detachment is one of the most misunderstood teachings in Buddhism. Many people hear the word and imagine becoming cold, distant, or emotionally numb. They fear that detachment means no longer caring. But true detachment is not the absence of love. It is the absence of fear. It is the quiet ability to love deeply without letting your peace depend on what another person chooses to do. You can care with your whole heart and still remain inwardly free. Open hands suffer less than clenched fists. When you hold too tightly, anxiety appears. You try to control what cannot be controlled. You replay conversations. You fear endings before they arrive. You exhaust yourself trying to protect what was never yours to possess. This is not love. It is fear asking for certainty. The Buddha taught that suffering begins when we resist the changing nature of life. People change, feelings change, relationships change. Peace begins when you stop demanding permanence from what is naturally temporary. Look at the lotus flower. It rises from muddy water, yet remains untouched by the mud. It does not reject its surroundings. It simply refuses to become what surrounds it. This is emotional mastery. To live in a world of uncertainty without letting uncertainty poison your heart, close your eyes. Imagine holding a small bird in your open palms. You feel its warmth. You appreciate its presence. But you do not close your hands around it. You do not trap it to calm your fears. If it stays, you are grateful. If it flies away, you are still whole. Feel the difference between love and control. One honors freedom. The other fears it. Ask yourself gently, what are you most afraid of losing? How much of your suffering comes from trying to control outcomes? Can you care deeply without clinging? This is the spiritual turning point. The moment you release your need to possess, love becomes lighter. The moment you stop fearing loss, relationships become more peaceful. The moment you trust your own wholeness, you no longer beg anyone to stay. You understand that your peace is not fragile. It does not depend on another person's attention. It lives within you. Detachment is not coldness. It is inner freedom. It is loving with open hands. It is standing in the muddy waters of life while keeping your heart clear. And when you learn to love this way, you discover something profound. You can lose many things in life, but you never lose yourself again. 11. Fall in love with the life inside you. Many people spend years searching for someone to complete them while ignoring the sacred life quietly waiting inside their own heart. They dream of being chosen. They imagine that one day someone will arrive and finally make them feel whole. But while they wait, they neglect their own inner world. Their gifts remain unopened. Their dreams remain delayed. Their soul sits patiently, hoping to be noticed. This is one of life's deepest tragedies. You can spend so much time asking, "Who will love me?" that you forget to ask, "What kind of life am I creating for myself?" The Buddha taught that peace does not begin when someone else enters your life. It begins when you stop abandoning the life already within you. Self-love is not ego. It is spiritual responsibility. It is choosing peace over chaos, truth over performance, wholeness over desperation. The soul blossoms when it stops asking the world for permission to exist. Imagine a garden that has been ignored for many years. The soil is dry. The flowers are hidden. The ground seems lifeless. But beneath the surface, life is still waiting. The moment the garden receives water, sunlight, and patient care, something remarkable begins to happen. Slowly, green returns. This is your inner life. You may have ignored yourself for years while chasing approval, love, and validation, but nothing essential has been lost. Your soul is still there, waiting for your attention. Close your eyes. Imagine walking through a peaceful garden growing inside your chest. With each breath, you water a forgotten part of yourself. A wounded memory softens. A neglected dream begins to bloom. A quiet strength rises from within. Stay there for a moment. Feel what it is like to become your own safe place. Ask yourself gently, what parts of you deserve more love? What kind of life would you build if you truly valued yourself? Are you waiting to be chosen instead of choosing yourself? The moment you fall in love with the life inside you, everything changes. Loneliness becomes solitude, rejection becomes redirection, and love becomes something you share, not something you beg for. You stop chasing those who cannot see your worth. You begin caring for the garden within, and as your inner world blossoms, you realize a profound truth. The person you were searching for was never outside you. It was the wiser, calmer, more loving version of yourself that had been waiting all along. Choose that life. Choose that self. And you will never beg for love again. We'd love to hear your thoughts. If you're not sure what to say, just type, "I finally choose myself." Bonus. One day, you will thank the people who could not love you. One day, you will thank the people who could not love you. Not because their absence did not hurt. Not because you did not spend nights wondering what you lacked. not because your heart did not break in places you thought would never heal. You will thank them because their leaving forced you to meet yourself. Some people do not enter your life to stay. They enter your life to reveal where you are still attached. They expose the fear that says, "Without you, I am nothing." They uncover the part of you that believed love had to be earned. They show you how often you abandoned your own soul just to avoid being left behind. In that moment, what feels like rejection is often revelation. The Buddha taught that suffering is a teacher. It removes illusions. It strips away the stories you built around another person. It asks you to look honestly at what you were truly seeking. Were you seeking love, or were you seeking rescue from your own emptiness? Some endings arrive disguised as destruction, but they are actually liberation. A snake cannot grow while trapped inside old skin. In the same way, the heart cannot awaken while clinging to what it has outgrown. Sometimes, heartbreak is life's strong compassion. It breaks what is false so that what is true can finally emerge. Close your eyes and picture every painful goodbye as an autumn leaf falling from a tree. The leaf does not resist. It does not beg the branch to hold on. It simply releases and returns to the earth. And in time, what falls becomes nourishment for new life. Your pain can do the same. What once wounded you can become the soil from which wisdom grows. Ask yourself quietly, which heartbreak changed you the most? What did that loss reveal about your attachment? Could your pain be guiding you back to the relationship you neglected most? The relationship with yourself. One day, you will look back with a softer heart. You will see that not everyone who left was a loss. Some were lessons. Some were mirrors. Some were spiritual turning points disguised as endings. And with deep gratitude, you will whisper, "Thank you for not loving me the way I begged you to. Because your absence taught me to become the love I was searching for. And once you become that love, you will never beg for it again." Quick summary. Stop offering your soul for temporary attention. Most people do not beg for love because they are weak. They beg because they feel empty inside. Emotional dependency begins when you expect others to heal your loneliness. The more you chase validation, the more disconnected you become from yourself. True peace begins when your happiness no longer depends on someone choosing you. The heart that rejects itself will worship others. People who cannot value themselves often become emotionally dependent on approval. They sacrifice their authenticity to avoid rejection and abandonment. When self-worth is missing internally, attention from others becomes addictive. Real confidence begins when you stop changing yourself to be accepted. Attachment is fear, pretending to be love. Attachment creates anxiety because it is rooted in fear of loss. Many relationships suffer because people confuse control with care. Love becomes painful the moment it is driven by desperation and insecurity. True love allows freedom instead of emotional possession. Your inner child still chooses your relationships. Unhealed childhood wounds quietly shape adult emotional patterns. People often chase familiar pain because it feels emotionally comfortable. The fear of abandonment usually begins long before adulthood. Healing starts when you become aware of the emotional patterns controlling your choices. Loneliness is the door. Most souls refuse to enter. Most people fear solitude because silence reveals unresolved emotions. Constant distraction prevents people from truly understanding themselves. Loneliness can become a powerful teacher instead of a punishment. Inner peace grows when you learn to sit comfortably with yourself. 6. Stop asking others for permission to feel worthy. Many people allow outside validation to control their self-worth. When approval becomes necessary, emotional stability disappears. A person who depends on praise will always fear rejection. True self-love begins when your value no longer depends on attention from others. 7. The more you chase love, the more fear controls you. Fear of losing people creates emotional desperation and over-attachment. People begin over-giving and abandoning themselves to avoid rejection. Love becomes exhausting when it is driven by anxiety instead of peace. Healthy love does not require you to lose your identity. People can feel. When you abandon yourself, your energy reflects the way you secretly see yourself. Low self-worth attracts relationships based on imbalance and disrespect. Self-respect creates emotional boundaries and inner stability. The moment you value yourself deeply, your relationships begin to change. True love begins when emotional hunger ends. Desperation disappears when inner emptiness is healed. Love becomes peaceful when it is no longer connected to emotional survival. Healthy relationships grow from wholeness, not dependency. The less you fear losing love, the more naturally love flows. Detachment is not coldness, it is inner freedom. Detachment means releasing fear, not rejecting love. You can care deeply without becoming emotionally trapped. Suffering grows when you try to control people and outcomes. Inner freedom begins when you stop clinging to what you cannot control. Fall in love with the life inside you. Self-love is choosing your peace, growth, and healing every day. Many people search for completion outside while neglecting themselves within. Your relationship with yourself shapes every relationship in your life. The moment you truly value yourself, life begins to feel different. One day, you will thank the people who could not love you. Some heartbreaks exist to awaken you, not destroy you. Pain often exposes the attachment and insecurity hidden inside you. Loss can become the beginning of emotional freedom and self-discovery. Sometimes the people who leave are the reason you finally return to yourself. The deepest tragedy in life is not being unloved by others. It is spending years abandoning yourself while trying to be chosen. Buddhism teaches that attachment is not proof of love. It is often proof of fear, fear of loneliness, fear of rejection, fear of facing the silence within ourselves. But the moment you stop asking others to complete your soul, something extraordinary happens. Your heart becomes lighter, your mind becomes calmer, and love stops feeling like emotional survival. True self-love is not arrogance, it is inner alignment. It is waking up one day and realizing that your peace is too sacred to be controlled by someone else's attention, distance, or approval. The people who truly love you will never require you to abandon yourself to keep them. When you realize nothing is missing within you, the whole world begins to feel different. Zen philosophy teaches that peace does not come from holding tighter, but from releasing what was never truly yours to control. And perhaps the greatest freedom in life is this: learning to stay deeply connected to yourself, even when others walk away. So tonight, before you sleep, ask yourself quietly, have I been chasing love, or have I been searching for myself through other people? If this message spoke to your heart, make sure to like this video, share your thoughts in the comments for more inspiring Buddhist insights on living a peaceful, powerful, and awakened life. Imagine embracing someone you love.